Discipline, for the Stoic, is the foundation upon which all other virtues rest. It is not merely self-denial, nor is it limited to visible acts of control such as refraining from overeating or reacting angrily. It is the internal alignment of reason over impulse, of will over appetite. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he had been made to work with others, to endure labor, to perform his duty, not to lie warm under the covers. This is where discipline begins. In rising when it is easier to sleep. In speaking with restraint when it is easier to react. In doing the task before you without complaint, without delay. For the Stoics, discipline was not a form of punishment but a source of power. What could be more empowering than a person who governs their passions? As Epictetus put it, we must train like athletes, not for the sake of trophies, but because we are in a constant contest, not with others, but with ourselves. The body, the emotions, the ego, each a challenger in the arena of daily life. And yet, the discipline the ancients praised was not always severe. It was consistent. It was firm, but not cruel. It was about bringing order to the soul, as one brings order to a house. Seneca warned that unexamined indulgence leads to soft minds and brittle spirits. Comfort breeds weakness. But hardship, if approached wisely, tempers the character like fire tempers iron. Discipline is not the absence of feeling. It is the placement of feeling beneath principle. It is knowing that hunger is natural, but gluttony is not. That desire may stir, but it need not rule. That anger may arise, but it can be interrupted. This is not a one-time act. It is a daily choosing. The Stoic, waking into a world of temptations and distractions, resolves, "Today, I will govern myself. Today, I will act with intention." And in this, they find a rare freedom. The freedom not of doing what one pleases, but of pleasing oneself by doing what is right. This is the Stoic understanding of the ability to act in accordance with one's principles and values, not simply to indulge in desires. Discipline is not repression. It is clarity. It is the recognition that not every urge is worth obeying. That not every impulse leads to flourishing. The ancient Stoic does not simply endure discipline. They embrace it. Because it is through this practice that the higher self is forged. The one who stands in the storm without flinching. The one who meets insult without bitterness. The one who lives not for ease, but for excellence. This is the first discipline. The visible one. The one we train in our habits, our schedules, our diets, our speech. But it is not the end. It is the gate through which the deeper work begins. Once the outer form is established, once the alarm is obeyed, the routine set, the calendar ruled, a new challenge presents itself. Can you ease your grip? In today's world, constant effort is often rewarded. Hustle is praised, and burnout is mistaken for ambition. Every minute is maximized, and each day is filled to the brim. However, the Stoic, once steadfast in their habits, must learn a critical, quieter lesson: when to let go. Marcus Aurelius worked tirelessly for Rome, yet he wrote again and again about the need for retreat, for silence, for perspective. What good is discipline if it blinds us to balance? The modern Stoic learns to ask not only what more can I do, but also what can I release? Not because they are tired, but because they are wise. Discipline without discernment becomes rigidity, and rigidity breaks. Seneca spoke of the art of living, not the grind of living. He warned against exhausting the soul with endless effort, reminding us that even the archer must unstring the bow. To be disciplined about discipline is to know when striving turns into strain, when the structure becomes a cage, when the pursuit of virtue becomes a theater for the ego. Being disciplined about discipline means understanding that the ultimate goal of all this work, the training, the structure, the practice, is not control for its own sake. It is freedom. And freedom includes rest. This understanding brings a sense of peace and reassurance, knowing that rest is not a sign of weakness, but a necessary part of the journey. This requires humility. The humility to pause. To admit that not every moment must be filled. That silence can be as noble as speech. That rest can be as brave as action. The modern Stoic, flooded with metrics and self-improvement mantras, must remember, more is not always better. Sometimes, restraint means pushing through. Sometimes, it means pulling back. This is not indulgence. It is mastery. To choose rest, not out of fatigue, but from foresight. To decline another task, not from weakness, but from wisdom. This is the Stoic concept of master, their ability to control one's actions and reactions, to choose what is best for oneself and others, even in the face of temptation or difficulty. Discipline, then, becomes a circle. First, we master the body. Then, the mind. And finally, we master the mastery itself, knowing when to hold firm and when to soften. Just as Epictetus taught his students to know themselves, to test their impressions, and to examine their motives, we too must examine our effort. Is it service or compulsion? Is it virtue or vanity? This introspective approach to discipline fosters a sense of thoughtfulness and self-awareness, guiding us in our journey towards self-mastery. A disciplined life is not measured only by what is done, but by what is chosen with care. You are not here to conquer your schedule. You are here to align with reason. And sometimes, reason says, put the burden down. Not forever, but long enough to return with strength, with clarity, with purpose renewed. This, too, is discipline. And perhaps, the highest kind. And now let us draw these principles for the Stoic, not as commands, but as invitations to deepen the practice of discipline in daily life. These are drawn not to impress but to remind, not to instruct from above, but to speak peer to peer, philosopher to practitioner. Principle 1. Wake with purpose. Each morning is a summons. The first choice sets the tone for all others. If you delay your rising, you delay your clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he was born for labor, for cooperation, for excellence. The disciplined Stoic rises not because it is easy, but because it is needed. To delay is to drift. To act is to affirm, I will govern this day. The bed may offer warmth, but purpose provides direction. Begin with resolve. Principle 2. Govern the first impulse. Discipline is often less about grand resistance and more about the first moment, the split second between stimulus and response. That first scroll, that first complaint, that quick retort, these are the hinges of character. The Stoic delays just long enough to choose. That space is small, but sovereign. To govern the first impulse is to reclaim the direction of the day. Principle 3. Let hunger teach you. Musonius Rufus taught that mild hunger was a friend to discipline. Not as punishment but as a mirror. In hunger, we see how quickly desire arises. In restraint, we see how quickly it passes. Skipping a meal occasionally is not suffering. It is training. It teaches that not every signal from the body deserves immediate obedience. This insight applies not just to food, but to every appetite. Principle 4. Rest with intention. Proper rest is not an escape. It is recovery. The Stoic rests to return stronger, not to avoid the task. Even Marcus took moments for retreat, to his journals, to nature, to silence. Rest must be deliberate, not indulgent. It should clear the mind, not clutter it. The disciplined Stoic does not resist rest, but they choose it wisely and exit it with gratitude. Principle 5. Decline without drama. To say no is a Stoic skill. Not every offer must be accepted. Not every invitation deserves your energy. Discipline means selecting what serves your principles and setting aside the rest. Declining need not come with guilt, nor with explanation. The quiet refusal is often the most powerful affirmation of one's values. Principle 6. Review the day without cruelty. Seneca encouraged evening reflection. Not to condemn oneself, but to clarify. Ask, where did I act from reason? Where did I follow impulse? What pattern must I watch tomorrow? The disciplined life is not flawless, but it is accountable. This review is not for shame. It is for sharpening. Principle 7. Let routine be a ritual. Repetition is not monotony when filled with meaning. A well-crafted routine becomes a form of devotion, to clarity, to service, to presence. The Stoic does not automate life mindlessly. They choose patterns that protect their values and return to them with care. In this way, the mundane becomes sacred. Principle 8. Speak with economy. Zeno taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, to listen more than we speak. The disciplined person does not rush to fill silence. They wait. They weigh. They say when it adds value. Silence, used well, is strength. Words used well are service. Principle 9. Welcome the difficult. What resists you strengthens you. Discipline means not avoiding difficulty but seeking its lesson. Marcus did not resent hardship, he absorbed it into his training. What blocks the path becomes the path, but only if you engage with it directly. The difficulty is not a punishment. It is a proving ground. Principle 10. Be gentle with yourself, firm with your standard. Discipline does not require cruelty. You will falter. You will forget. That is human. The Stoics does not make excuses, but neither do they indulge in self-loathing. The standard remains high, but the tone remains humane. Fall, reflect, return. That, too, is discipline. These principles do not exhaust the subject. They open it. For the disciplined life is not a destination. It is a movement, toward integrity, toward wisdom, toward peace. Let these be your companions on that path.